Hey Reddit, buckle up because I've got a wild one for you. Imagine your dad calling you out of the blue, demanding you drop everything to play the happy family card at your sibling's wedding. Oh, and if you don't, he's cutting you off. Sounds like a soap opera, right? Except this is my life, and it's been a roller coaster of dysfunction, betrayal, and some sweet, sweet payback. Let me take you back to where it all began. I'm Ethan, 26, and if my family were a movie, I'd be the blurry extra in the background while my younger sister, Lila, gets the Oscar-worthy close-up. This isn't some sob story. It's the truth, and it's messy. Growing up, I was the kid no one noticed. Not in that, oh, he's just quiet way, but in the we've got a shinier model now way. Lila came along 3 years after me, and from the second she was born, my parents, Mark and Susan, decided she was their golden ticket. She was this chubby, giggling baby with big hazel eyes, the kind that makes strangers coo in grocery stores. Me? I was the wiry, awkward one with scraped knees and a mop of brown hair that never sat right. I wasn't ugly or anything, just average. And in my house, average didn't cut it. It's not like I was starved or locked in a basement, nothing that extreme. My parents fed me, clothed me, kept a roof over my head. But that's where it stopped. Lila. She got the deluxe package, new toys, extra hugs, and a chorus of, "You're so special," every time she blinked. I remember being 6, proudly showing Mom a stick figure drawing I'd spent hours on, only for her to glance at it, say, "Nice," and then gush over Lila's scribbled mess like it was a Picasso. That was the pattern. My report cards? "Good job, Ethan." Lila's C- in art. "Oh, honey, you're so creative." By the time I was 10, I stopped trying to compete. Why bother? Lila lapped it up, though. She wasn't just spoiled. She turned into this mini tyrant. She'd snatch my toys, throw tantrums if I got a say in anything, and smirk when Mom and Dad took her side. Once, when I was 12, I saved up my allowance for a cheap remote control car. Lila, 9 at the time, grabbed it, crashed it into a wall, and laughed while I picked up the pieces. Dad just shrugged and said, "She's younger, Ethan, be the bigger person." That phrase became my life soundtrack. It wasn't just the little stuff either. Family vacations? Lila picked the beach every year because she loved sandcastles. I hated sand, but my vote didn't count. Dinner? Her favorite chicken nuggets? Even though I'd gag at the smell. TV time. Her cartoons while I stared at the wall. I was the ghost in my own house, fading into the background while Lila shone brighter every day. And the worst part? My parents didn't even see it. To them, she was perfect and I was there. High school was my breaking point. I busted my ass to get straight A's, thinking maybe, just maybe, they'd notice me. Senior year, I got accepted into a top-tier university. Full ride, too. I was shaking when I told them, expecting at least a wow. Nope. Mom said, "That's great, Ethan." Then turned to Lila, who'd just won some meaningless middle school talent show, and threw her a freaking party. Dad chimed in later, suggesting I stick closer to home so Lila wouldn't feel left behind. Left behind? She wasn't even applying herself. I'd worked for this, clawed my way out of their shadow, and they wanted me to dim my light for her. Again. That's when I snapped. Not outwardly, I'm not the yelling type. But inside, something shifted. I told them I'd think about the local college, but I had a plan. See, the scholarship covered most of my tuition at the big university, and it was states away. I'd lie, say I was staying local, move into the dorms, and live my life on my terms. They bought it hook, line, and sinker. Dad even sent me cash every month for expenses, thinking I was at the community college down the road. I didn't correct him. Call it petty, but after years of being invisible, I figured I'd earned it. Fast forward 4 years. I graduated. Early, 3 years instead of 4. Landed a killer job in tech, and now I'm pulling 6 figures at 25. My parents, still clueless. They think I'm some broke student, scraping by on their handouts. I kept up the act with vague texts and the occasional holiday visit, but I built a life they'd never touch. Until last week when Dad called. "Ethan," he said, voice all stern and parental. "Lila's getting married. You need to be here. Family sticks together." I almost laughed. Family? Since when? Then came the kicker. "If you don't show, I'm cutting off your tuition." Tuition? The guy had no idea I didn't need his money, or him. That's when I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. After 25 years of treating me like a spare tire, he thought he could snap his fingers and I'd roll over? Nah. This was my line in the sand. I let him finish his rant, all about family duty and what will people think. Classic Mark, always obsessed with the optics. When he paused for breath, I kept it simple. Sorry, Dad, can't make it, work's crazy. No details, no groveling, just a flat no. I figured that'd be the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. Within an hour, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. First up, Mom, the queen of emotional blackmail. Her texts rolled in like a tidal wave. Ethan, how could you do this to Lila? It's her big day. She'll be heartbroken if her brother's not there. You only get one family, you know. I stared at the screen, jaw clenched. Heartbroken? Lila didn't even know my middle name. One family? Funny how that only mattered when it suited them. I texted back, I'm not coming, Mom. That's it. Short, sweet, and final, or so I thought. She fired off another round. You're breaking my heart, Ethan. We've done so much for you. That one made me laugh out loud. Done so much? Like what, forgetting my 16th birthday because Lila wanted a sleepover? I didn't reply. Then Dad jumped back in, switching tactics. His next call was calmer, all fake reasonable. Look, son, families stick together for stuff like this. It's not about you, it's about Lila. When that didn't work, he dropped the mask. Fine, you don't show, I'm done sending money, you'll regret this. I almost told him right then, I don't need your cash, old man. But I held back. Where's the fun in spoiling the surprise? Here's the thing, I'd been banking his tuition money for years, letting it pile up in a separate account. After graduating early from that top-tier university, they still thought I was at the local dump. I'd landed a remote tech gig, 6 figures, benefits, the works. At 25, I was out earning Dad's middle management salary by a mile. He had no clue. Neither did Mom or Lila. They all pictured me as this struggling student scraping by on their generosity. The irony? That money they sent wasn't even a drop in my bucket. It was just a nice little bonus I'd never asked for. But the threats didn't stop with Dad. Lila called next, and oh man, it was a performance. Ethan, please, she whined, voice all syrupy and fake teary. I need my big brother there, it won't feel right without you. I rolled my eyes so hard I nearly pulled a muscle. This was the same Lila who'd accidentally smashed my Game Boy when I was 13 because I wouldn't let her play. The same Lila who'd laughed when I tripped at her high school graduation party, making sure everyone saw. Now she needed me? I kept it curt. Can't, Lila, busy. She huffed, you're so selfish, and hung up. Selfish. That word stuck in my craw. After years of eating their scraps, I was selfish. The next few days were a barrage. Mom sent sob story voicemails. I can't believe you'd abandon us like this. Dad left messages about teaching me a lesson by pulling my enrollment from the local college I'd never attended. I didn't respond, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why now? Why this wedding? It hit me late one night scrolling. X for distraction. It wasn't about me or even Lila. It was about them. The perfect family photo for their friends, the neighbors, the church group. I was the missing puzzle piece they needed to sell the lie. Without me, the cracks would show. That realization lit a fire in me. I wasn't just done. I was ready to flip the script. See, I'd kept my life a secret for a reason. Peace. No begging, no guilt trips, no drama. But they'd pushed too far. I started imagining the look on Dad's face when he found out I wasn't his broke little puppet anymore. On Mom's when she realized her poor student son owned a condo in a city she'd never even visited. On Lila's when she saw I'd outshone her golden glow without breaking a sweat. I didn't want to brag. Not yet. I wanted them to feel it first. So I waited. 2 days later, Dad called again, voice dripping with smug. I went to the college today, Ethan. Told him to drop you. No more free ride. You're coming to this wedding or you're on your own. I bit my lip to keep from laughing. He'd gone to a school I'd never set foot in, thinking he'd pulled some big power move. Okay, Dad, I said, voice flat. Do what you gotta do. He hung up, probably thinking he'd won. Oh, he had no idea what was coming. I leaned back, in my chair, staring at the ceiling of my paid-off condo and grinned. This was about to get good. So Dad thought he'd landed a knockout punch by dropping me from a college I'd never attended. I could have let it slide, kept living my quiet, drama-free life, but nah. They'd poked the bear one too many times. After that call, I sat there in my condo sipping a coffee I didn't need their money to buy, and decided it was time to pull the curtain back. Not for their sake, for mine. Years of being the invisible kid had built up this pressure, and I was ready to let it blow. The next morning my phone buzzed again, Dad, of course. I picked up expecting more threats, but his tone was different. Panicked, almost shrill. Ethan, what the hell's going on? I went to the college and they said you were never enrolled. Never. Where's all the money I sent you? What have you been doing? I could hear the gears grinding in his head, the confusion turning to fury. For a second, I pictured him standing there in that dingy admin office, red-faced, yelling at some poor clerk who didn't have a clue. It was too perfect. I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Dad, relax, I said, keeping my voice steady. I haven't been at that college. I never was. I went to a real school, top tier, full scholarship. Graduated 2 years ago. That money you sent, thanks, by the way, it helped with groceries. Silence, dead silence, then an explosion. You lying little, how dare you, after everything we've done for you? I laughed, couldn't help it. Everything like what, Dad? Ignoring me while Lila got a parade for breathing? I'm good now, real good. 6 figures, nice place, no thanks to you. He sputtered, words tripping over each other. 6 figures? You're making that up. You think you're better than us? I didn't flinch. Not better, just not your punching bag anymore. Oh, and I'm not coming to Lila's wedding. Deal with it. Before he could recover, I dropped the mic. Stop calling. I'm done. Click. Blocked. My heart was pounding, but damn, it felt good, like I'd just shed a skin I'd outgrown years ago. I thought that'd be the end of it, but nope. Mom was up next. She called from a new number. Sneaky. Voice all wobbly and, teary. Ethan, your father told me everything. How could you lie to us? We're your family. There it was again. Family. I wasn't buying it. Mom, you don't get to play that card. You didn't care where I was or what I was doing until... You needed me for Lila's big show. I've been gone for years, states away, and you didn't even notice. She gasped, then went quiet. We thought you were local. You should have told us. I snorted. Why? So you could guilt me into staying small for Lila? Pass. She switched gears fast, going for the sob story. Please, Ethan, come to the wedding. It's not about us, it's about Lila. She deserves this. That hit a nerve. Deserves? What about what I deserved? A childhood that wasn't a footnote to hers? I kept my cool, barely. Lila's had enough spotlight. I'm not props for your family photo. Bye, Mom. Blocked her too. 2 down, 1 to go. Lila didn't call, she texted. A novel-length message dripping with entitlement. Ethan, I can't believe you ditched me like this. I've always looked up to you and now you're ruining my wedding. Dad says you're some big shot now. Congrats, I guess, but you owe us. Come home. Looked up to me? The girl who'd mocked me for years? Owe them? I typed back. I don't owe you shit. Enjoy your day. Sent. Blocked. Trifecta complete. For a day, it was quiet. I went back to work, coding, meetings, normal life, thinking I'd finally cut the cord. Then my inbox pinged. An email from Dad, subject, "You'll regret this." I opened it expecting more yelling, but it was worse. Ethan, you're a disgrace. The only way we'll forgive you is if you show up to Lila's wedding and act like a son. We need you there. No gossip, no shame. People are asking where you are. There it was. The real reason. Not love, not family. Just their precious image. I deleted it, but the words lingered. They didn't want me. They wanted a prop. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying it all. Every slight, every dismissal. I wasn't mad anymore, I was done. But I knew they wouldn't stop. They'd keep clawing, desperate to drag me back into their mess. And you know what? I was ready for it. I'd built something real, career, home, peace, and they couldn't touch it. But I wasn't just going to sit back and block numbers forever. Nah, I had one more card to play. They wanted a showdown, they'd get one, just not how they expected. Okay, Reddit, we're deep in the chaos now, and this is where it gets juicy. After I dropped the truth bomb and blocked the whole trio, Dad, Mom, Lila, I figured they'd stew in their own mess and leave me alone. Wishful thinking. They didn't. Just double down. They went full nuclear. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I need to set the stage for the train wreck that was Lila's wedding, and how it flipped everything on its head. A couple days after the email, I was chilling in my condo, binging some Netflix to unwind from the family circus. My phone was on Do Not Disturb, but I'd missed a call from my cousin Jake, Mom's nephew, one of the few relatives I actually liked. He left a voicemail. Yo, Ethan, shit's hitting the fan. Call me back. That got my attention. Jake wasn't the dramatic type, so I hit him up. Dude, he said, voice low like he was hiding. Lila's wedding, total disaster. You dodged a bullet. Here's what he spilled. Lila's fiancé, Trent, seemed like a catch. Fancy car, big talk, the works. But turns out he was a con. Artist with a capital C. Before the wedding, he'd convinced Lila, my parents, and half the guest list to sink their cash into some can't-miss investment scheme. Promised insane returns, flashy presentations, the whole scam playbook. Lila, being the golden child, got mom and dad to throw in everything. Savings, dad's 401k, even a chunk of their house equity. They were all in, until Trent vanished. 2 days before the wedding, he ghosted with the money. No ceremony, no groom, just a gaping hole where their finances used to be. Jake couldn't stop laughing as he told me, "Your dad's screaming at Lila. Lila's crying. Your mom's just..." Checked out, it's a shit show. I sat there processing. Part of me felt a twisted glee. After years of them propping Lila up, her perfect life had imploded spectacularly. But another part, the dumb sentimental bit, wondered if I should feel bad. I didn't. They dug this hole themselves. Then Jake dropped the real kicker. They're broke, man, like broke. Your dad's company was already tanking. Some fight with a client went south, lost a big contract. Now this, they're selling the house to cover debts, moving into some shitty rental. I whistled low. The house I'd grown up in, gone, their cushy suburban facade, poof. And get this, Jake added. They're pissed at Lila now, blaming her for trusting Trent. Golden Girls tarnished. I thanked Jake, hung up, and leaned back, letting it sink in. Karma's a hell of a thing, right? For years, they'd banked on Lila being their shining star, and now she'd tanked them harder than I ever could have dreamed. I didn't gloat too long, though. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. It was Mom, sobbing, so hard I could barely understand her. "Ethan, please, I miss you. I just want my son back. None of this money stuff matters, just come home." I froze. Her voice sounded raw, broken, not like the polished guilt trips from before. For a split second, I wondered if she meant it. Then I remembered. They hadn't cared when I cut them off, not a peep until now, when their world collapsed. I kept my tone flat. "Mom, what's this really about?" She hiccuped, then mumbled. We're struggling. I just thought, you're doing well, right?" There it was. The mask slipped. They didn't want me. They wanted my wallet. I hung up mid-sentence, blocked the number, and sat there fuming. They'd ignored me for decades, but now that I was their last lifeline, I was family again? Hell no. I wasn't their ATM, but they weren't done. A week later, I got a knock on my door. I peeked through the peephole, Mom and Dad looking like they'd aged 10 years, haggard, desperate. I didn't open it. "Ethan, we know you're in there," Dad yelled. "We flew here, spent our last dime. You owe us this. You're our son." Owe them? After everything? I cracked the door, just enough to glare. "You don't get to show up and demand shit. You've got 5 seconds to leave or I'm calling the cops." Mom started crying. Dad banged the door frame, but I slammed it shut. They lingered, pleading through the wood. Family this, responsibility that. But I tuned it out. Eventually they left. I thought that was it. Then Lila showed up. 2 days later, she's at my doorstep, mascara streaked, looking pitiful. "Ethan, I messed up. Trent screwed us all. Mom and Dad hate me now. I need you." She tried the big brother angle, but I wasn't buying it. "You need me now because you're broke," I snapped. "Where were you when I was the family punching bag?" She blinked, then begged harder. "Please, they're cutting me off too. Help me." I didn't budge. "Not my problem. Get out." Door locked, her out. That night, I sat with a beer, staring at the city lights. They'd lost everything, house, money, pride, and still thought I'd bail them out. I wouldn't. Not after they'd spent my life betting on the wrong horse. But I wasn't celebrating either. It just felt heavy. Reddit, we're nearing the end game now, and it's been a wild ride. After Lila's teary doorstep plea, I thought I'd finally shaken them off. 3 strikes, Dad, Mom, Lila, and I was out, right? Wrong. These people were like cockroaches, scrambling back no matter how hard I stomped. But this part? This is where I stopped playing defense and took control. Let's dive in. A few days after Lila's visit, I was back to my routine. Work, gym, rinse, repeat. Trying to shake the weird mix of anger and emptiness their stunts left behind. I'd blocked every number they'd used. Even changed my email after Dad's unhinged rants kept clogging my inbox. Peace was close. I could taste it. Then my doorbell cam pinged. I checked the app, expecting a package, but there they were. Mom and Dad again, standing on my stoop like lost puppies. Except puppies don't glare at you through a lens with that kind of entitlement. I watched from my phone as Dad pounded the door. "Ethan, open up. We're not leaving till you talk," Mom chimed in, voice shrill. "We're your parents. You can't do this." I didn't move. They'd flown across states, again, on what little cash they had left, thinking I'd cave. I hit the intercom instead. "Go home. I told you I'm done." Dad's face twisted. "You think you're too good for us now? We raised you." "Raised me?" Fed me, sure. Housed me, yeah. But raised? That's a stretch. I cut the feed and called building security. 2 minutes later, they were escorted out, Dad yelling the whole way. I exhaled, thinking that had to be it. Nope. Next day, my phone buzzed at work, unknown number. I ignored it, but the voicemail icon popped up. Lila's voice, shaky but sharp. Ethan, they're losing it. Dad's saying I ruined everything. Mom's a wreck, and they're blaming me for you cutting them off too. Sorry, okay? I know I was a brat growing up, but I need you now, please. An apology? From Lila? That was new. For a second, I almost felt bad. Then I remembered her smirking while she trashed my stuff as a kid. Sorry doesn't erase. Decades. I deleted it. Then the emails started again. New accounts, because of course they'd figure that out. Mom's was a novel. Ethan, we're living in a trailer. A trailer. We lost the house, the firm's gone, and Lila's mess cleaned, so us out. You're our son, help us. We'll change, I swear. Dad's was shorter, angrier. You're selfish, we gave you everything and you're letting us rot. Fix this. I stared at those words. Gave you everything. And laughed. Everything except attention, respect, or a shred of fairness. I trashed both emails, but the weight lingered. They were desperate, sure, but it wasn't my mess to clean. That night I called Jake again, needing an outside take. They're relentless, I said. Showing up, begging, guilt-tripping. What do I do? He sighed. Man, they're drowning and you're the only lifeboat they see. They don't care about you, just what you've got. Cut the rope. He was right. I built this life. Condo, job, stability without them. They didn't get to claim it now because their golden goose crapped out. The next morning I got a text from a random number, Roman, an old high school buddy I hadn't talked to. Years. Dude, your parents tracked me down. Asked for your address, said it's an emergency. I didn't give it, but heads up, they're obsessed. Obsessed was an understatement. They'd gone from begging to borderline stalking. I thanked Roman, then sat there, gears turning. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about control. They couldn't handle me breaking free, succeeding where they'd failed. And Lila, she was collateral damage in their blame game. That's when I decided, no more reacting. I wasn't hiding anymore. I'd ended on my terms. I unblocked Dad's latest number, called him, and didn't let him speak. Listen, I said, voice cold. You've got nothing left to threaten me with. I don't need you, your money, or your bullshit. I've got a life you can't touch. Come near me again and I'm filing a restraining order. Tell Mom and Lila the same, this is over. He tried to interrupt. Ethan, you can't. But I hung up, blocked, done. For a week, silence. Blissful, golden silence. I started sleeping better, focusing at work, even grabbed drinks with some coworkers without that nagging dread. Then yesterday, a letter slipped under my door. No stamp, just my name in Mom's shaky handwriting. I opened it, expecting more tears. Instead, Ethan, we're sorry. We messed up. Lila's gone. She took off after we fought. We're alone now, please, just talk to us. No demands, no guilt, just defeat. I stared at it, waiting for the old tug of obligation. It didn't come. I shredded it and tossed it in the trash. They'd made their bed. Let them lie in it. Read it? We've reached the finale, and it's a doozy. After shredding that letter, I thought I'd close the book on my family's saga. No more knocks, no more calls, just me, my condo, and a life I'd fought tooth and nail for. I was ready. To move on, maybe even start building something new. Friends, a real family of my own choosing. But you know how it goes with toxic people. They don't just fade out quietly. They leave one last mess to trip over. Let's wrap this up. A couple weeks passed in peace. Work was good, got a raise actually, and I'd started hitting the gym harder, channeling all that leftover tension into something productive. I even went on a date, first one in ages, with a cool graphic designer named Mia. Nothing serious yet, but it felt normal, like I could finally breathe without looking over my shoulder. Then, late one night, my doorbell cam pinged again. I groaned, expecting Mom's tear-streaked face or Dad's scowl. Instead, it was a guy I didn't recognize, mid-30s, scruffy, holding a beat-up envelope. I hit the intercom. Who are you? He shifted, nervous. Name's Chris, your sister Lila sent me, said you'd help. My stomach dropped. Lila. I hadn't heard from her since she'd bolted after their blowout. Help with what? I snapped. He held up the envelope. She's in trouble, owes some people money, bad people. Gave me this to give you. Said you're loaded now. I stared at the screen, blood boiling. Even gone, she was still trying to drag me into her. Shit. Tell her to piss off, I said. I'm not her bank. Chris shrugged. She figured you'd say that. Said to tell you it's your fault she's like this. Your parents screwed her up after you left. Then he slid the envelope under the door and walked off. I grabbed it, half expecting a sob story or blackmail. Inside was a scrawled note. Ethan, I fucked up. Trent's mess left me with debts. Guys are after me. Mom and Dad won't help. You're all I've got. Please, $20K and I'm gone for good. No apology, just a demand. 20 grand? She'd lost her mind. I crumpled it, tossed it in the trash, and blocked the memory. But it gnawed at me, her pinning her mess on me like I'd orchestrated their downfall. I hadn't. They'd done. That all on their own. The next day I called Jake for the last update I'd ever need. Lila's MIA, he said. Rumor is she's hiding out with some sketchy ex dodging creditors. Your parents are still in that trailer, fighting nonstop. They're done, man, financially, emotionally, everything. I nodded to myself. Good riddance. Jake paused. You okay, though? This is heavy. I thought about it. Was I? Yeah. I said, I'm free. And I meant it. That night I sat on my balcony, city lights sprawling below. I'd spent my life as their scapegoat. Quiet Ethan, the backup plan, the shadow to Lila's son. Now they were broken, scattered, and I was still standing. Thriving even. I didn't feel joy at their ruin. Not really. Just a quiet satisfaction. That I'd escaped the quicksand they'd sunk in. They'd bet on the wrong kid, and I'd stopped paying for it. A week later, Mia texted about grabbing coffee. I said yes, and as I got ready, I caught my reflection. Taller, stronger. No longer the scrawny kid they'd overlooked. I liked that guy. He'd built this life, 6 figures, a home, a future, without their crumbs. Walking out, I passed the trash where Lila's note sat. No second thoughts. She'd figure it out or she wouldn't. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Looking back, Reddit, it's bittersweet. There's a hole where a family could have been. Not the one I had, but one that cared. I mourn that sometimes, but I'm not waiting for it anymore. I've got Mia's laugh in my head, a promotion on the horizon, and a condo that's mine, not theirs. They lost everything chasing a mirage, Lila's perfection, their image, and I found something real letting it go. Moral of the story? You. Don't owe anyone your soul, not even blood. Cut the dead weight and run. I did, and I'm not looking back. Thanks for sticking with me, fam. If this blows up, I'll toast you all with a beer from my balcony. Peace out. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.